Welcome to AppleKnows channel. I am Apple and today I am taking you into the world beneath and between the earth where caves and canyons hold secrets that sound almost impossible yet are completely real. Imagine stepping into a place where time moves differently, where the walls around you were formed not in years but in millions of years, each layer telling a story older than anything human. One of the most mind-bending places on the planet is the Grand Canyon in the United States. Scientists estimate it is around 5 to 6 million years old. But some of the rocks exposed there are nearly 2 billion years old. That means when you stand on its rim you are looking at a cross-section of Earth's history so ancient that it predates most forms of life we can even imagine. It is like reading a book with missing chapters of the planet itself. Caves, on the other hand, can feel like alien worlds hidden beneath our feet. Take Krubera Cave in Georgia for example, often called the Everest of caves. It is more than 2,197 meters deep, making it the deepest known cave on Earth. To descend it is to travel into a vertical abyss of darkness where explorers face freezing water, dangerous squeezes, and weeks underground. The deeper you go, the more it feels like descending into another dimension. Some teams have reported hearing the sound of water rushing far below, but never being able to see where it disappears. Then there are caves that hide life we thought impossible. In Romania, the Movil Cave was sealed off from the surface for more than 5 million years. When scientists broke into it in the 1980s, they found an ecosystem completely independent from sunlight. Instead of plants and photosynthesis, the creatures inside depend on chemosynthesis powered by sulfur and methane in the air and water. More than 30 species inside this cave are found nowhere else on Earth. Imagine scorpions, worms, and spiders that have evolved in pitch blackness, never knowing the sun exists. It is a reminder that Earth holds entire hidden biospheres just meters beneath our feet. Canyons too can play tricks with what we believe possible. The Colca Canyon in Peru is twice as deep as the Grand Canyon, plunging more than 3,200 meters. Locals have lived along its walls for centuries, building terraces and farms on slopes so steep they look like staircases for giants. Then there is Yarlung Tsangpa Grand Canyon in Tibet, the deepest canyon in the world. It cuts through the Himalayas with cliffs rising more than 5,000 meters above the river. To put that into perspective, that depth is taller than any mountain in Europe and nearly rivals the height of Everest. Yet most people have never heard of it. Some caves challenge our very sense of survival. The Cave of Crystals in Mexico is filled with some of the largest crystals ever discovered, some stretching over 10 meters long. The beauty is surreal, like walking into a cathedral of light. But inside, the temperature can reach 58 degrees Celsius with nearly 100% humidity. A human without protective gear would not last more than 10 minutes. It is a place both breathtaking and deadly, showing how nature creates wonders that are not meant for us to stay in. And if you think caves are silent tombs, think again. Sun Dung Cave in Vietnam is so massive that it has its own jungle, its own river, even its own climate system inside. The ceiling collapsed long ago, allowing sunlight to pour in and trees to grow within. Clouds form inside this cave. Standing there feels less like Earth and more like stepping into a lost world where dinosaurs could appear at any moment. Even canyons carved by water tell stories of power we can hardly grasp. Antelope Canyon in Arizona is famous for its wave-like sandstone walls glowing with beams of light. It looks sculpted by an artist, yet every curve was cut by flash floods rushing with brutal force. In just seconds, walls that look smooth as silk today were torn and shaped by water carrying sand like blades. AppleKnows channel brings you these truths not as myths but as reminders that our planet is stranger, deeper, and more powerful than most of us dare to believe. When you look at a canyon or a cave, you are not just looking at stone, you are looking at millions of years of silence, violence, and creation all pressed into a shape that can swallow us whole or leave us speechless. One of the strangest places beneath the earth is Lechuguilla Cave in New Mexico. It was discovered only in 1986, yet it is now recognized as one of the most beautiful and scientifically valuable caves in the world. Its passages stretch for more than 220 kilometers, making it one of the longest caves ever mapped. What shocks explorers most are the formations that look like chandeliers of gypsum, crystal flowers, and bizarre twisted shapes that seem alive. Scientists have even found bacteria inside Lechuguilla that survived isolated from the surface for millions of years and show resistance to modern antibiotics. That means life underground may be far older and more resilient than anything we imagined. Now think about a canyon that seems almost impossible, the Fish River Canyon in Namibia. It is the largest canyon in Africa, stretching more than 160 kilometers long and up to 27 kilometers wide. Standing at the edge, you see a landscape that looks torn apart by giants. Yet here, in this dry desert, ancient rock tells stories of rivers that once roared with unimaginable power. Fossils buried in its walls speak of creatures that lived hundreds of millions of years ago when Africa was part of a different supercontinent. Looking at it feels like looking at another planet. Some caves are not just natural wonders but deadly traps. Take the Boiling River cave system in the Amazon, connected to a river where water temperatures can reach up to 94 degrees Celsius, hot enough to cook small animals instantly. Local myths once described it as cursed, but modern science shows geothermal heat leaking from deep beneath the earth. Even today, researchers walk its banks with extreme caution, knowing a single slip into its waters could mean instant death. There are also caves so hidden that discovering them feels like stepping into a forgotten universe. In 2006, explorers entered the Erwang Cave in China. Inside they found chambers so vast they contained their own weather patterns with fog drifting across the floor. The space is so huge that you could fit a skyscraper inside, yet it had been sealed from the world for thousands of years. Imagine standing inside and realizing you are one of the first humans in history to breathe its air. Canyons hold secrets as well. The Copper Canyon system in Mexico is larger and deeper than the Grand Canyon, and it is still home to the Raramuri people, who are known for their astonishing long-distance running abilities. They can run for over 200 kilometers without rest, using the canyon trails as natural racetracks. While the landscape is rugged and dangerous, it has shaped a culture of endurance that defies the limits of what most people believe the human body can do. And then there is the chilling fact about caves: some grow so fast they seem alive. In certain places, stalactites and stalagmites can grow several centimeters in just a few decades when water is rich in minerals. In others, they take thousands of years to grow even a single millimeter. This means that some of the massive stone pillars you see inside caves today might have been forming since before humans existed at all. To touch one is to touch a structure older than civilization itself. AppleKnows channel reminds you that caves and canyons are not just holes in the ground or cracks in the earth. They are cathedrals of time, danger, and beauty that can challenge everything you think you know about nature. The deeper we go, the stranger it gets, and I promise you the most shocking truths are still waiting. Let's start with a cave that scientists describe as one of the most hostile environments on the planet, the Nika Mine's deeper chambers in Mexico. Beneath the famous Cave of Crystals, researchers discovered air so toxic, filled with hydrogen sulfide and carbon dioxide, that even with protective suits survival was almost impossible. Yet inside this hellish atmosphere, they found microbes locked inside crystals for tens of thousands of years. These microbes were reawakened in labs, proving that life can survive in conditions where we once thought nothing could. This discovery shook astrobiology, because if life can survive here, it might also survive on other planets, beneath their surfaces. Now shift your vision to canyons cut not over millions of years, but in mere moments. In 1929, in the state of Texas, a flash flood tore open Palo Duro Canyon walls in a way so violent that entire rock sections collapsed, creating new features in hours that would normally take centuries. Flash floods are the sculptors of slot canyons like Utah's Buckskin Gulch, the longest slot canyon in the world. These places are breathtaking to walk through, yet they are among the deadliest, because when rain falls even dozens of kilometers away, a wall of water can roar through with nowhere to escape. Many explorers call slot canyons the most beautiful death traps on Earth. Another fact few realize is that some caves breathe. Yes, caves like Mammoth Cave in Kentucky, the longest cave system in the world with over 680 kilometers mapped, actually inhale and exhale air. As outside temperatures change, air pressure forces wind through its openings so strong that it can blow hats off or pull them inward. To early explorers it felt like the cave itself was alive. And Mammoth is still expanding as new passages are constantly being discovered. Experts say less than half of it may even be mapped, meaning there could be hundreds more kilometers hidden. Speaking of the unknown, the Blue Hole caves beneath the ocean are equally mysterious. The Great Blue Hole in Belize drops more than 120 meters into perfect circular darkness. Divers have found stalactites far below sea level, proving that this cave was once above ground before the ocean swallowed it. Imagine that, a place that used to be dry land is now an underwater abyss. Even Jacques Cousteau, the legendary explorer, called it one of the most extraordinary places on Earth. But perhaps the most shocking canyon fact is hidden in Greenland. In 2013, scientists using radar beneath the ice sheet discovered a canyon stretching nearly 750 kilometers long, longer than the Grand Canyon itself. It lies completely buried under ice, unseen by human eyes, yet it channels meltwater beneath the glacier like an underground river highway. This canyon has existed for millions of years, hidden from the world, reminding us that even now Earth keeps its greatest landscape secret. And here is a detail about caves that most people will struggle to believe. Inside the Villa Luz cave in Mexico, streams of water flow with hydrogen sulfide, a gas that would kill most life instantly. Yet bacteria thrive in it, covering the cave walls in slimy colonies that scientists call snotites. They drip from the ceilings like alien mucus, and they survive by consuming toxic gas instead of sunlight. To walk through Villa Luz is to witness a world that feels like science fiction but is entirely real. AppleKnows channel wants you to realize that caves and canyons are not just features of geology, they are proof that our planet is stranger than we can handle. The deeper we look, the more impossible it becomes to believe we have seen everything. Now we're stepping even further into the places that twist reality itself, where caves and canyons reveal facts so strange you'll question how this world can even exist. Take for example the Krasnohorska cave in Slovakia. Inside it grows the largest stalagmite in the world, over 34 meters tall. To put that in perspective, it's taller than a 10-story building, yet it formed drip by drip, over hundreds of thousands of years. Every drop of water carried just a trace of minerals, and somehow, over time, this tower rose in total darkness. You stand at its base, and it feels less like geology and more like some impossible monument built by unseen hands. And canyons hold secrets written in stone that seem beyond human comprehension. In Charin Canyon of Kazakhstan, often called the little brother of the Grand Canyon, the formations look like castles, cathedrals, and towers carved by the wind itself. The local legends say giants once walked there, because the shapes are too precise to believe they came from erosion alone. Yet they did, wind and water shaping something that resembles architecture millions of years before humans ever built cities. Some caves are so bizarre they challenge the very idea of survival. In the Dead Sea region of Israel, salt caves stretch for more than 10 kilometers, making them the longest salt caves in the world. Unlike limestone caves, these are literally carved out of salt, constantly changing as rainwater dissolves the walls. Imagine walking through shimmering white tunnels knowing they are fragile, temporary, and could vanish within decades. In fact, one of them, Malum Cave, was only recently confirmed as the longest salt cave on Earth, hidden beneath a desert most people thought was lifeless. Then there are canyons hidden beneath the ocean. Off the coast of California lies Monterey Canyon, a submarine canyon deeper than the Grand Canyon itself, plunging more than 3,600 meters into the Pacific. Few people know it exists because it's invisible from land, but down there, strange deep-sea creatures thrive, and its channels guide ocean currents that affect ecosystems across the entire west coast. It's a canyon as massive as any on land, yet it lies in total darkness beneath the waves. And here's something even stranger, some caves hum and sing. In certain limestone caves, when air moves through narrow passages, it creates a low haunting resonance, almost like the sound of an organ. Ancient cultures once believed these sounds were voices of spirits trapped underground. Today scientists know it's air pressure and acoustics, but that doesn't make it any less chilling when you're deep inside and hear the cave itself moaning around you. Canyons too hold stories of sudden, violent birth. Take the Providence Canyon in Georgia, USA. Locals call it the Little Grand Canyon, but here's the shock: it wasn't carved by nature alone. In the 1800s, poor farming practices caused massive erosion, and within just a few decades the land split into gullies more than 45 meters deep. A canyon created not in millions of years but in the span of a single human lifetime, proving that landscapes can change faster than we ever expect. AppleKnows channel wants you to realize this: every cave and canyon is like a living archive of time, violence, and survival. Some whisper in silence, some scream in storms, and some hide truths that scientists are only beginning to uncover. Now we're going to dive into the kinds of cave and canyon facts that make even experts stop and shake their heads in disbelief. Let's start with Ellison's Cave in Georgia, USA. Inside it lies fantastic pit, the deepest freefall drop in the continental United States. Imagine stepping off the edge and falling straight down for 179 meters, that's the height of a 58-story skyscraper, into total darkness. It is not a place for beginners, it's a vertical void where one mistake could mean a fatal plunge. Explorers say it is the closest you can get to the feeling of dropping into infinity without leaving Earth. Now consider what's beneath the Sahara Desert. For years people assumed it was endless sand, but in 2014 researchers discovered signs of an ancient mega-canyon buried beneath the dunes, possibly stretching hundreds of kilometers long. This hidden canyon once carried rivers that flowed when the Sahara was green, tens of thousands of years ago. Today it lies completely concealed under sand, invisible from the surface, yet it shaped the desert's past climate and ecosystems. The desert, it turns out, is not just emptiness, it's a graveyard of forgotten landscapes. Then there is the haunting world of underwater caves. The Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico is riddled with cenotes, collapsed limestone caves filled with water. Some of these cave systems stretch for hundreds of kilometers underground, making them the longest underwater caves on the planet. Divers who enter describe eerie tunnels decorated with stalactites that were once dry land, now submerged forever. Even more chilling, archaeologists have found ancient human remains and artifacts in these cenotes, suggesting they were once sites of ritual sacrifices by the Maya civilization. To swim there is to float through both geology and human history at the same time. On the other end of the spectrum are canyons so massive and remote that most people have never heard of them. Take Kali Gandaki Gorge in Nepal. It cuts through the Himalayas with a depth of about 5,500 meters, nearly as deep as Mount Everest is tall. Standing at its bottom, you're surrounded by some of the highest peaks on Earth, looming like walls of stone that block out the sky. Few places make you feel so small, like an insect trapped in the cracks of a mountain range. And here's something that shocks many: some caves grow toxic ice. In Russia's Kungor ice cave, enormous chambers of frozen formations have existed for thousands of years, but what makes it unique is that gases trapped in the ice can suffocate explorers if disturbed. Imagine admiring a glittering wall of frozen beauty, knowing that a crack could release air that has been sealed since the Ice Age. In these places, beauty and danger are inseparable. One more fact that blurs the line between natural wonder and nightmare: Darvaza crater in Turkmenistan, often called the door to hell. It is not a natural cave but a collapsed gas field that Soviet engineers accidentally set on fire in 1971. They expected the gas to burn off in a few weeks, but it has been burning ever since, for over 50 years. Standing at its edge, you see a canyon-like pit glowing with flames, a reminder that sometimes human error creates landscapes as terrifying as anything nature designs. AppleKnows channel reminds you that the Earth is not just what we see on the surface. Beneath us, within cracks, under ice, and even beneath deserts, lie worlds that challenge logic and test survival. Some of them inspire awe, others inspire fear, but all of them are very, very real. AppleKnows channel signing off, Apple here, and I'll leave you with this thought: caves and canyons are not just landscapes, they are reminders of how fragile and how powerful Earth truly is. They are vaults of time, carved by water, fire, ice, and silence, places that have witnessed millions of years without us and will continue long after we are gone. Every drop of water, every grain of sand, every collapse and shift leaves behind shapes that seem impossible, yet they are real. So the next time you look at a cliff, or step into a cavern, remember you are standing in a chapter of Earth's story so much larger than your own, and you are only glimpsing the tiniest fraction of what still hides beneath our feet. This has been Apple from AppleKnows channel. Thank you for exploring the impossible truths of caves and canyons with me. Until next time, stay curious, because the planet you live on is stranger than you can imagine.